All right, great. I'm not sure where I cut out, but again, this is the Office 365 Planner webinar. Um, Thank you for telling me, everybody, that we lost audio. I really appreciate it. I would have just kept going on for probably too long. So should Simplex IT be your IT department? We sure hope so. So if you can answer yes to any one of these questions, please reach out and give us a call. We'd love. We've got a lot of interesting event topics coming up. June 20th, which is Monday actually, Bob is speaking in Akron. If you are part of the Ohio Society of CPAs and you're going to the CPE event in Akron on Monday, he'll be talking about Office 365. And then if you're local to the Northeast Ohio area, please stop by and see us on June 21st. We're having our open house. We just moved from Hudson, Ohio to Stowe, Ohio, just a few miles south, on the same road, in fact. And we're having our ribbon cutting and open house ceremony on June 21st from 4 to 6. So please stop by. We'd love to see you. And then June 28th, we're hosting a webinar actually. We presented a topic titled Business Software Trends at the Cozy webinar in Cleveland in the fall. And it was a pretty big success, but then they wanted us to do it in a webinar format over the summer. So we're doing that on June 28th. And then we're actually just announced, and you'll probably see some more announcements on this coming up, but we just announced that we're doing an executive cybersecurity seminar. So this is from 11:30 until 2 on July 13th, and we're going to talk about cybersecurity and everything you need to know to keep your business safe and secure. The next Office webinar will be on mail merge, and the next project management webinar will be on task dependencies and constraints. So going back to project a little bit and talking about task dependencies and when to use those finish to starts and start to starts and what you need to do if you want something to start sooner or overlap. So we'll go over the ins and outs of that. And then August 10th is our annual picnic. This is always a good time. We grill out food and play games outside. So even though we moved and we don't have our big backyard anymore, we still have an area where we can do that. So we're anxious to enjoy the summer on August 10th with our picnic. So again, if you're local to the area, stop by and see us. All right, so Simplex-IT, just to give you a little bit of background about our company, we do a lot of IT work. We want to be your IT department. If you have an IT department, we always say we work well with others. So we want to work with them if they need any help. Simplex DBA is the branch that Doug Tombo heads up, and he just helps companies ensure that the health and performance of their corporate data is as good as it can be. And then Simplex PM is the branch that I head up, and I'm just out to help project managers get better at using some of the project management tools and methodologies out there. I always make the comparison, we think that project management is only for the big guys, the big companies, the people building, skyscrapers, and that's not always the case. They do have great methodologies and great tools, but they're also applicable for the smaller businesses and smaller projects. So if you work in project management, you want to give me a call and want to chat a little bit about that, I would love to chat with you. All right, so project management and Microsoft Project aside, today's webinar is going to be a little bit different. We're going to take a look at Office 365 Planner. So this is a new tool that Microsoft recently put out. It's available in some of the Office 365 subscriptions. So you may want to take a look. You might have it already automagically. And if not, you can always subscribe to it. So I'm just going to switch gears here, and I'm going to switch over to my web browser. And the only thing I did before I started this webinar was I got into Office 365, and then I just went into the Planner tool. So I just did that for convenience, but you'll notice that I have Planner here in my menu. And so I clicked on Planner, and here are all of my plans that I have here in the Planner tool. So on the left, I have a little navigation. I can see my Planner hub, which is sort of the dashboard, if you will, and all of my tasks. I'll show you these in just a moment. And then down below, I have a listing of all of my plans. And also over to the right, I have a listing of all of my plans. If I wanted to look at one of the plans, I can click on it, and it'll open up all the details about that particular plan. So very different from Microsoft Project. If you're a project user, put that aside for for a moment, because we definitely don't get the level of granularity here in Planner that we do in Microsoft Project. But we also have a lot more flexibility here. So you can see in this project that I just opened up, it's our open house and ribbon cutting ceremony. So these are some of the tasks. This is real life stuff. Some of it I added a little bit for the demo, but pretty much the real life stuff that we're doing for our open house next week. So we have what project calls buckets. Okay, so I have created several different buckets for all of these tasks that I have to do. I created a bucket called general to do. This is just general stuff that I need to do or we need to do. Invites and social media, I created a bucket for things to remind me about spreading the word about our open house. So we did different postcards and email reminders and social media stuff, postings, things like that. So I wanted a separate bucket for that. Of course, needed a bucket for food. So we have I created a separate bucket for food and everything that we're doing to, get some good food in for our party. And then I have a bucket for decoration. So these are all of the different, the different things we're doing to decorate, whether it's signs or balloons or what have you. So one thing that's really nice about this planner tool is that you can create buckets based on anything. If you want to create buckets based on names or levels of importance or whatever, you can create however you need. So you just click on add a new bucket, and then you type in the bucket name. Very easy. So this is just how I chose to do it here for our open house. If I wanted to look at a task or a card, I can click on it, and that opens up all of the details about that card. So here we're doing, this is probably a little, if you're coming to the open house, you'll have a little inside scoop on some of the things that we're doing. But we're putting little swag bags together. So here I have to put these together, and in the description I might add little description about who gets the swag bags and how we're going to do them. I can add an attachment or a link. I can add a checklist. So if I wanted to add, let's see, if I'm compiling the list of things that are going to go into my swag bag, all right, I'm going to put a brochure, I'm going to put our famous rocket pens, maybe some candy, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. So now whoever is putting the swag bags together knows exactly what needs to go into the bags. I have an area for comments, and this keeps a history of all of the comments back and forth. So if I were working on this task with another person, I can have comments back and forth and have that history. Up at the top, I can change buckets and say, oh, you know what, I really wanted this in food or decorations instead of general to do. I'm not going to change it. I think I'll keep it in general to do. It has not been started yet, but if I had started it, I could mark it in progress. Notice there's only 3 options here: not started, in progress, and completed. So very different from Microsoft Project, where you can go in and say that you spent 5 minutes on a task. You can enter the start date. So I think we better get started on these pretty soon. We'll probably end up doing these tomorrow. So we'll start on them tomorrow. And the due date is definitely Monday, because I want them done by our open house on Tuesday. The More button just gives me the option to delete this card. So if I wanted to delete it, I can. And then the only other thing we didn't talk about here, I created the task, so it says that it was created by me, and then I can assign the task. So I can click assign, and then I have a number of people that I can assign it to. This is a pretty small project. I can always add somebody new if I wanted to. If I click on the add somebody new and I start typing in their name, it'll pick up another person within my organization. I can say, okay, I want to assign this to Kevin. Okay. And then from that point forward, he'll be in my drop-down list. So he's now in the project team for the open house. I've got different color labels that I can set, and these two I can set as I go. The one thing that I'm really learning to love about 365 Planner is that you don't have to go anywhere else to set up your project. Like I don't have to go into a set up my buckets and name all the buckets. I don't have to go into set up my labels and set up all the labels. You just do it right here. So if I wanted to set labels for maybe something order of importance or who's doing something or whatever, you can set the labels here. I don't really need that for this project. I'm not going to do it, so I'm just going to close, and there's my card. Now if I did decide that I wanted to put this in maybe decorations and I've already closed it, you can open it and change the bucket there, or you can click and drag and just change it here. All of these are adjustable, so I can click, if I want to put games up at the top, I can switch from games, monitor RSVPs. And then once something is done, you can either click inside of it to open it up and see all the details and change it from not started to completed. Or if you want to save yourself a few clicks, just hover over top of the card and then you can click that green check mark and it marks it completed. And you'll notice if you look at the bottom of any one of these buckets, once you mark a card complete, if you click on the show completed option, it'll show you all the tasks that you've completed. So you don't have to go anywhere else to see those. If you'll notice up on my screen, I just got an email about the marketing table. Because I closed that, we're not going to do that. I just closed that, I marked it complete. But I did get an email, because I was the person assigned to that task, I did get an email saying that my task is now complete. So anytime you assign somebody a task or reassign to a different person, delete a task, that resource will get that email saying that they've, that their task is changed. I am enjoying using the buckets view. I've really gotten used to that. But you can also group by who it's assigned to. So up here in the right hand corner, right next to group by, you'll see buckets with a drop down arrow. If I select assign to, that just changes my view. I do like this view because it's very easy to see who, or to see which tasks don't have anybody assigned. And I always find that if you don't assign somebody a task, it doesn't get done. So once you assign a task, then people get that, they're more accountable for that task rather than just leaving it in an unassigned bucket. So here you can see who's assigned to which task, and if you wanted to switch them around, let's say that I'm going to, let's say that Bob is going to follow up with Cindy about the decorations. I'm going to just drag it to Bob, and then notice it changed to, and it sent the email, and it changed the resource assignment. Regarding resource assignments, the one thing that I have not been able to do, and I don't think that we can do this, is assign it to multiple people. So I really do like to do that in projects. Sometimes two people are working on a task. I haven't seen a way to do that here in Office 365 Planner. Anytime you select to assign a resource, it's one or the other. And then in addition to grouping by who it's assigned to, you can also group by progress. So you can see very quickly what's not been started yet, what's in progress, and what's been completed. Okay. Now I'm seeing here that make signs. I actually did start this. I must have forgotten to go in and do it or to mark it. So here I'm going to say, oh yeah, this is in progress. I'm just going to drag it over to in progress. I can go back to assign to. If I want to move things around, let's say that making signs, I'm actually doing that, not Michelle, so I'm going to drag that over to me, and it's going to change the resource to my name. And I get an email. So as you, the project manager, is making changes to your project, all of your resources will get email notifications. In addition to grouping by these different options, you have a couple other views. Up at the top, if you click on board, this is what shows you the board grouped by whatever option. That's what we've been looking at already. If you click on charts, this just shows us different charts related to the number of tasks. So if you're familiar with Microsoft Project really doesn't care so much about the number of tasks. It cares about how long tasks are going to take and how many hours of working hours are going to go into completing a task. Whereas 365 Planner really doesn't care how long things are going to take. It cares about how many things there are to do. So again, here in the view that you're looking at now, I see the different number of tasks for each task in each type of status. So the number of tasks that have not been started, number that are late, in progress, and completed. And then also by team member, I can see how many each person has that are not started, late, in progress, or completed. In addition to the charts, one other thing I wanted to mention before we move off of charts, as I'm looking at charts, if I find that I've forgotten to add anything or I want to look at my tasks, you do have the option to add a task right from here. So if you're in charts, you think, oh gosh, I forgot to add something, I can click on new task over here to the right, and I can say confirmation calls. We're not going to do confirmation calls, but we'll pretend that we are. And I'm going to put this in general, and I'm going to say I'm going to do this on Friday. And I'll assign it to Michelle. And click add task, and you'll see that it added the task for her and refreshed this view. So really nice. I like that you don't have to go back to another screen to be able to just add a task real quick. You've got some different grouping options here as well. Who it's assigned to, when it's due, progress, or which bucket it is in. The other thing I wanted to show you were some of these additional options. So if I click on Notebook, that will actually take me to the OneNote notebook that's associated with this project. And every time you create a new plan in 365 Planner, it creates a OneNote notebook for you. So you'll notice this is my OneNote. It's the open house and ribbon cutting, the same plan. I have done nothing with this. That was actually the first time I had clicked on that button for this project. So you can see all of this is just done for me. And here I can add my sections and my pages, and I can type in, whatever section name I want to call it. So if you're using OneNote at all, the OneNote and Office 365 integration is really nice. In addition to the notebook, if I click on the More button here, I can view any conversations that have to do with this planner. With this plan. I can look at my calendar and any calendars that I have access to. So this isn't a separate calendar like in Project. In Project, we have completely separate calendars for the project. It has nothing to do with our Outlook calendars. In Planner, if I click on Calendar, it actually just takes me right to my Outlook calendar. I'll let that reopen. And while that's loading, the other thing, in addition to calendar, you can look at your team members, any files that you might have saved. So, maybe as I'm working through this open house, I want to save PDFs of my receipts or my, maybe contracts with vendors or whatever. I could save the files that are related to this plan here. Again, my notebook, and then I can go back to the plan. Just to show you, after I let that load for a minute, you can see here that it opens up my calendar with my groups and everything from that menu. I can choose to edit the plan or leave the plan, save it to my favorites, and subscribe just is what creates or gives me that ability to see the emails that are coming through and really monitor that project or that plan. It's going to take me probably 100 years to switch over from calling it a plan from calling it a project in Microsoft Project. So I'm trying to curb my bad habits, but they are called plans here in Planner. But years of calling projects in Microsoft Project will probably wear off very slowly. So let's see. So we looked at we looked at this project, the open house project. We looked at it in board format. We looked at it in the charts. I showed you the notebook and we looked through the more button. We talked about tasks over here on the right and how you can add more tasks and how you can group them in different ways. I think the only thing we haven't touched on is the Planner Hub, which is basically just, like I said, just the dashboard of where you can see all of your projects. So as you're working through and you have additional projects, you'll see them added here. If you'd like, I can click on Office Move so you can see a different project. This one, to be honest, I was kind of just playing around with Planner at this time. We didn't really use it for the Office Move, but you can see that I, created some different buckets here for what I needed. And assigned, a couple people tasks. Again, I was just sort of experimenting here at this point. If I wanted to create a new plan, all I have to do is click on New Plan up here in the top left, and I just have to give it a name, and I'm going to say Webinar Demo. Oops, Webinar Demo. It does have an email address, so anything that I send the webinar demo at simplex-it.com will add it to that group, and everybody will get notifications. I could add a description if I want, but I don't have to. I can also choose to make it public or not. So public doesn't mean public to everybody in the world. Public means public to the people that you share your Office 365 subscription with. But if you wanted just a private plan, maybe if you wanted to, I don't know, plan a family gathering or what have you, maybe you just want to have access to it. You don't want to necessarily have anybody else be able to see that. You could do that as well. So you just say make this plan public and just switch the toggle to no. I'm going to say yes. I do want to make it public, and then I'm just going to create the plan. And you'll notice it'll think about it for a couple minutes, and then I'll create the plan for you. And now all I have to do is start adding my tasks. So I can type a task name, and it'll be test 1, and test 2, and test 3. So it's up to you, just like in project, it's up to you if you want to just add all the task names and then go back and set up the details, or if you want to do them at the same time. Everybody's different. Sometimes I like to just get all the tasks in there first, figure out where everything is going to fall, and then go back and set the due dates and set the assignments and things like that. All right. I think that's about all I wanted to cover. Let me pause for a minute if you have any questions. I don't see any in the chat room, but if you have any questions, please feel free to type them out, and I'll have some time to answer those. If you have any questions about Planner, like I said, type them out or give me a call or shoot me an email after the webinar. I would love to chat about it. Would love to hear some real life examples of how you're using it and how you think it compares with Microsoft Project. I've definitely been getting a lot of questions about, well, should I use Planner instead of Project? And I definitely think that it depends on the project. I'm using Planner for our office open house and ribbon cutting ceremony. It's not, not a very strict project. I don't need to keep very close track of the budget. I don't need to keep very close track of the schedule and the timeline. Actually, I shouldn't say I don't need to. I probably do need to, but I don't want to take the time to set all of that up in project. So for me, for that project, it's perfect. Office 365 Planner has been perfect. If I were doing something that, maybe I was working on developing a new software product and I really needed to be able to track the hours that somebody was spending on a task, and I needed to create great reports and charts and really view very granular information, then I would definitely want to use Microsoft Project. So I don't think that it's an either or. I think it depends. It depends on the project and depends on what you need out of the project. All right, I don't see any questions in the chat room, so I think we are pretty good to close. If you have, like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. Next month's webinar, we're going to go back to Microsoft Project and we'll talk about task dependencies and constraints and finish to start relationships. So that'll be a good one in Microsoft Project. If you have any topics you want me to cover, anything project management related, whether it's about Project Online, Planner, or just PM stuff that has nothing to do with the tools, that's fine too. Just let me know. All right, thanks everyone for joining. Bye.